Hi, I'm Mary from Seymour Library, and today is going to be a very special video. I'm going to bring you my top 5 graphic novel picks, well, for now. There's a lot of great graphic novels out there. A lot of these are newer books, a couple of oldies in there, but these are ones that I think have a large appeal, and I think you might be really interested in them. So the first graphic novel that I'm going to recommend, and these are in no way in any order, they're just my 5 picks. But the first one I'm going to recommend is this one. This is They Call This Enemy by George Takei. George Takei is very famous for his role of Sulu from Star Trek. And now he's in a lot of ways an internet celebrity, but this is his story. And it follows his early life, so his very young childhood, as a Japanese American citizen who is forced into the internment camps here in America during World War II. It's a part of history that we often don't talk about, but it happened, and so it's a fascinating look at what was going around in America during that time and how it impacted different American citizens. And what's fascinating about They Call This Enemy is that because he was such a young child during that time, he had almost an optimistic look going into it, so he viewed it as an adventure, but at the same time it's juxtaposed against the real darkness that was happening, how they were forced to live in these camps, how they didn't have a lot of space, just all the atrocities that was actually happening to them. But the story also tells how this really impacted the person that he is today and how it made him an activist in a lot of ways, and how he really fought for fellow citizens and is still fighting today and for equal rights and opportunities. So it's a very quick book. It's short, but I think it has a great impact and is fascinating. So I would highly recommend They Call This Enemy. I think it's worth a read. So my next graphic novel pick is the older one. This is Arkham Asylum. This is actually a Batman book, and the full title is Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth. It is written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Dave McKean. This is my favorite Batman book. I just find it so fascinating. This one really deals with mental illness and also focuses on the possible sanity or insanity of Batman, you know, a man that dresses up as a bat and goes after people even though he's a really rich guy. So I find this really fascinating. I don't want to give too much of the story away, but it does, take a look at a villain. Obviously, it's a Batman book, so there is a villain. So there is a villain that Batman has to go after. In this case, it's questioning a mental health professional, and bad stuff happened. Anyway, this one is just really good. It's super dark, super questioning. One of my favorite quotes is in this one. Even if you don't read a lot of Batman, I think you might enjoy this one, or even a lot of superhero comics. You might want to give this one a try if you're questioning whether or not you want to get into it. It's one of my favorites. This one's super, super good. My next pick is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This one is actually currently being published as a webcomic, and it was just recently condensed into a published graphic novel form. This is part of her other book series, so novel series, that has Solitaire and some other works in it, so they all tie in together. So this follows the two boys, Nick and Charlie, through their burgeoning friendship and possibly more. I like this one because it deals with mental illness. So Charlie is facing some mental health issues, and Nick's story is a little bit more calm, but Nick's is more about like self-acceptance. But the two of them together just make a charming duo. It's really fun. I would recommend it. It's a cute story, and I think she did a good job with it. This one is ongoing, so there are currently 3 published volumes, but it is still going as the webcomic, so I'm betting there's going to be more to come. The story's not over yet. So, Heartstopper a try. I'm just going to make a quick note. If you're nervous about giving Heartstopper a try because it's a multi-volume series, then you might want to pick up Bloom. This is another very enjoyable graphic novel. It's another romance type story. This is by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Gaucho. Oh my goodness, I might be saying your name wrong and I'm so sorry. But they created this really charming book. This is an all-in-one, so you could just read this volume. So if you're kind of interested in seeing the dynamics of meeting and friendship and possibly more than, but you don't want to give a long series a shot, you might want to give Bloom a try. So the next book on my list is No Ivy League, and this is by Hazel Newlevant. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is based on a true story, and it tells the tale of Hazel as she is applying for work, I think it's a volunteer work, through a youth conservation crew. The youth conservation crew is actually working to remove ivy, which is a non-indigenous plant, so it's invasive in the woods. And so they're working to remove the ivy in order to save the area, and so it doesn't choke out the natural plants and trees. Which sounds kind of weird, why have a book based on that? But it's not just that. This is a coming-of-age story, so it deals with Hazel meeting a group of other kids, teenagers and young adults, and then also discovering kind of the darker past of the creation of the state of Oregon, which I didn't even know had darker roots than, just statehood. So it's actually very fascinating, and those darker roots of that discovery and development of Oregon actually impacted Hazel's life and is part of the reason why she is homeschooled. So just gonna say, this has some serious meat in its bones. It's a very quick read, but yes, I would recommend this one. Give it a try. No Ivy League. And the last one on my list is just a charming tale. This is Pumpkinheads. It's by the best-selling author Rainbow Rowell. And I can't remember the first name of the... Faith Erin Hicks does the illustrations of this book, and this one's charming. It's just a very sweet, quick story. It tells the story of two co-workers who are working at the patch. It's a pumpkin patch, and so every year they've been working there together, and this is their final year because they're both seniors and they're going to be moving away and starting their college careers. So there's Josie and Deja, and Josie has had a crush on one of the co-workers at the patch for, I think, as long as he's been working there. And so Deja takes him on an adventure through the patch to find the girl and confess. But of course, other hijinks ensue, and the story develops, and you have to read it to see what happens between these two and their story. So this is just charming. It's a light read. I would recommend it. If you like Rainbow Rowell, this is just as good as her novels. And lastly, not part of my 5 recommendations I chose for this, but a little bonus, is Mouse. This book you've probably heard of. It's been everywhere, it's been talked about, and there's a reason for it, because it's just a great story and a great kind of new way to look at events that happened in the past. So this tells the story of the author's father's time in the concentration camps during World War II. So kind of would pair up very nicely with They Call This Enemy, but that's like a home front book, and this is the actual war and what was happening overseas. So that's about all I have to say. That's what it is, and if you want to read it, give it a try. It also deals with his current relationship with his father as he started to write the book, but I think the big meat of it is just getting that story about what happened during World War II and what was it really like for the survivors, and really for those who didn't survive, just for the people who were in those camps, what was it really like? And so this is a good piece of history. It's fascinating. Give it a try if you have not already. Thank you for joining me for this video. I will be back with more graphic novel recommendations, but in the next time it's going to deal with manga or Japanese graphic novels. So I'll see you then. Bye!